All right, guys, welcome to another edition of Chat with Charlie.
And my co-host is Dr. P.
What's going on, Charlie?
Nothing much, guys. What's up?
Breathe, Charlie.
I agree 100%.
Let me just be clear here. He does not agree with everything I say.
Not everything.
Hey, Charlie, it's time for your one-on-one.
I do it for fun.
Fun?
No alligator.
We are in the people business.
Have to have the right person.
The game is not over.
Because I want to beat everybody. I just want to be me. Chat with Charlie and Paulette.
Yay!
It's going to be a good 2-3. I'm going to enjoy it. We may have to cut this out, Mark.
No.
All right, guys, welcome to another edition of Chat with Charlie. Unfortunately, Dr. PTC is not with us, and this is our last show of season 2, right? What are we at? 21 episodes, 22? This is our 22nd episode of season 2, and you've probably seen a change from the first 6 months of season 2 to the last 6 months. And we're going to keep this going forward in 2024 with a lot of guests, just like we have today. Miss Jenn Lyles, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me. Going out with a bang.
We are going out with a bang. That's right. That's right. You are the last episode of season 2. And we'll kick it off with season 3 too with you.
Sounds great.
So Jenn, unfortunately, Paulette was going to be here. She's the co-host, been a co-host for like a year and a half now. Got to give her a shout out. She decided to take a little vacay, and so she's going to miss this episode, but we will have her back on with you, I'm sure, sometime in season 3. So with that, tell us who you are, what you do, why you're here, and then we'll get into this.
Sounds good. So I am the executive director of Beauty Schools Marketing Group. A lot of people know us as Beauty Schools Directory. We're a third-party lead gen service for beauty schools. But, aside from that, I like to think of myself as the Don Draper of beauty schools. I love everything marketing, admissions. I teach it. I have classes about it. I love all things social media. So, I met you at a convention.
That's
I go
right.
to a lot of higher ed conventions. That's a little bit about me in a nutshell.
In a nutshell, is you in a nutshell. But you also are an influencer yourself. I mean, you are a true student of the game.
I am. So there is nothing, Charlie, there's nothing I do that I don't practice ahead of time.
Yeah.
Everything I teach, I have tried. So even when I do admissions training, it's things I've done in sales that have worked, that I've tested out at schools, and it's done well. And now, I teach a lot about TikTok, which is crazy because I'm too old to be on TikTok. That's where the young people are.
You are not too old. You're making a little coin at it too.
I am. I'm making money now off of TikTok Shop, and I'm only doing it so that I can teach people how to do it. It's the only reason I really do anything. I draw inspiration from everywhere. It's so funny. In one of my trainings, I teach about an open house event. I call it an open enrollment event. So instead of doing an open house,
I love that.
People should just show up on this day, have everything done, and you can do expedited enrollment in one day. I call it an open enrollment event. And I got my inspiration at church. Like I was at church on a baptism.
Like, was
Sunday.
there a light that shined in?
It was baptism Sunday. Like churches do baptism Sunday. And I'm like, you can get baptized any day of the week. Why do you advertise this one special day? And then on that special day, everyone rushes down and gets baptized. And I'm like, schools should do that for enrollment. Yes, you can enroll at any time. But what if you set one day aside a year and you said, this is our open enrollment day? And it's not for like leads. It's not for like new prospects. It's for everyone that's already in your CRM. So I tested it out at some schools, and I mean, huge same day enrollments.
Do you think it's the urgency thing? Is that why like a church does that, or because it gives them a defined date and an urgency rationale?
A deadline where people can be thinking about it. So like, I know you've said no every Sunday. I know you say no all the time, but you've been thinking about it. Guess what? We're going to have a day, and this is the day you can do it. And it's not going to be this whole thing where you come down and have to have a meeting. It's like you make the decision to do it. And I just thought that should be schools. How great would it be if schools just said, skip the touring and the 5 appointments and just come in this one day and have everything done. So again, that's a long story short to say, I just draw inspiration from everywhere.
But you prove your concepts too by doing it yourself before
I teach it. So even when I came up with that idea, I had tried it at the Divers Institute. It's at school in Seattle.
Oh, get it? Baptism and divers. I see the connection.
Yeah, exactly.
Just dunked them away. Yeah.
I was like, we should try this. And like in one day they had 11 enrollments or something, just like in like within 2 hours. And I just thought, oh wow, this is a really great idea. So then I tried it, with another beauty school, and it worked very well. So now I teach people that. So it's the same thing with TikTok. Like I'm the girl on LinkedIn that's like, get on TikTok. But it's because I have seen such success on it. And that is where leads are. That is where prospects are. People should be on TikTok. So I'm testing things out before I teach.
You go where the people are, right? I mean, that's the theory behind it.
You go where your people are. That's
your
it.
People.
Right?
Well, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, dang. Your people are.
You go always where your demographic is. So my demographic is school owners. And so they're on LinkedIn. So that's why I'm so active on LinkedIn.
No, I get it.
Phenomenal for my business, right? But like, I'm not going to advertise a beauty school on LinkedIn.
But, just to, I don't know, add a little kung pao to it. That's how I first met you, was really through LinkedIn. And then you see people at and it didn't happen overnight. It's a long play, right? I do think that more sophisticated individuals, they have some short plays, but the long play is where it's at. And that's what I've seen you do. And that's where you're at today, is positioned yourself and what I would consider one of the lead experts on the social side. But before we get there, talk to me, how did you get into education? Like, was it admissions first or marketing, or
no?
How did you jump into this crazy game we have?
Yeah, I was a news reporter for CBS.
Oh, you were? I think I knew that.
Yeah.
Were you like the weather chick, or did you do the sports?
I did breaking news on the side of the road with a microphone. I was Jenn Lyles, WHNT News 19.
No way.
Yes, that's what I did.
Were you like in a hurricane and you're like, I'm trying to stay, I'm in here, I'm okay. And then
actually, there were a couple tornadoes for sure that I covered, but I always wanted to be a news reporter. And so I went to school for journalism. My degree is in broadcast journalism, and I went into news and hated it. So
really?
if you know me, I'm positive 24/7. I'm very energetic.
Sure.
I'm super upbeat. And then I'm interviewing people who, their family members just died in a fire. Someone just died in a car crash. Like, news is depressing. And when you're doing breaking news stories, they're never good. They're just always depressing. And I was the girl crying on the scene all the time. I was always interviewing people and crying. And I just didn't want to do this anymore. And so my husband and I had decided to move out to Phoenix. And I set up 2 job interviews out there. One was to be a dog blogger at a nursing home. So that's the first one I go to.
Wait, sorry. A dog blogger at a nursing home.
Yeah. So like this dog would visit the people in the nursing home. It was a golden retriever.
I'm sorry.
I know it's so ridiculous, Charlie, because like this was the moment in my life where like my career could have gone a completely different way had I taken that job that I was offered. So like I go to this interview first, and I just love writing. Like I'm a writer, and I'm like, I think I can get into the mind of a golden retriever. This is exactly what I want to do.
Sorry, I got a cold. It's smoker's cough. This is a cold. So wait a minute. Your job was to think like a canine and write copy that canine is thinking.
First of all, I did not take this job. This was
thank you.
This was the interview. I had 2 interviews set up. One was the very first one I go to is the dog blogger. So they offer me the job, and I come back to the hotel room because my husband and I are moving from Alabama to Arizona. So like we're in Phoenix.
Yeah.
For jobs. I come back and I'm like, Nick, I'm not even going to go to that second interview. Like I'm going to be a dog blogger. And he was like, we're not moving across the country for you to write for a golden retriever. This is craziness. I was already like in my head going to do that. And he forced me to go to the other interview, which was at the American Association of Cosmetology Schools, AACS.
There you go.
And that's how I got into this industry. So AACS is sort of like CQ, but just for beauty schools.
Yeah.
And so I was their communications director, and I would help plan the events. I was, putting out the weekly newsletter and talking to vendors, talking to schools. So I just got to know the entire industry, school owners, all the vendors in the space from going to those conventions for 4 years. And then Linnell Lynch, who sat on the board, offered me a position to be her marketing director. And so I took that job. And by this time I'm in Nashville, her schools are in San Diego. I'm working remotely. And my first year as marketing director, I increased leads and enrollment by 38%. I saw a ton of success by doing out of the box things that no one in the education was doing. And from that, I built my entire career. I started consulting. I started teaching people what I do. I started creating courses. And here I am now at Beauty School's Marketing Group.
Do you think when you teach people how to do various things, do you think they need to have innately in them a little bit of what drives you? Or like it's kind of a nurture nature thing. And we always talk about this here on the show. If you get where I'm going with it, are you able to transfer that to other people, or do they have to be built a certain way for them to really not exponentially improve, but to improve their game from what you're teaching them?
It's a good conversation to have because I really think it depends. Here's the thing, especially when it comes to like admissions and marketing roles. I think a lot of that stuff can be taught on the job. What you can't teach is a personality. You can teach paperwork to an admissions person. You can teach people how to go through the paperwork, what the FAFSA process is. You can teach that. What you can't teach is how do you talk to people? How do you mirror and match? How do you listen intently and then respond to what they're saying? I think a lot of that is personality and who they are, and you cannot teach that. And so a lot of times owners ask me like, oh, I need a new FA person. I need a new admissions person. Like, where do I find them? And I'm like, stop hiring experienced people.
Yeah.
They have bad habits. They think they're the greatest person in the world and they want a lot of money. Go down to Sephora, go down to Ulta, find a pretty girl who works at the front desk and offer her a job. She'll be great at admissions. Go to your local bar and find a bartender, a server, someone who knows how to
They're
talk
the
to
best
people.
reps ever. Bartenders, they know how to deal in a high stress environment. They know how to deal with different personalities, from a drunkard to a sober. You know what I mean? They've seen it all. Yeah, I agree. I know
exactly. I was a server. I was at Cracker Barrel for 7 years. Like it put me through college. And so servers.
Wait, how many of the fried apples did you eat at Cracker Barrel?
Is that your favorite?
That's my favorite. Apple? Like that's all I'll get sometimes. I'll just get like 3 bowls of those fried apples and biscuits.
Really?
Yeah.
And biscuits. That's great. You got to get the pancakes with the apple topping. That is.
I've never had breakfast there. I always get either the flounder. I always get, not flounder. Catfish. Catfish.
Yeah, they have catfish. Yeah. Yeah, the catfish is really good. Yeah. Anyway, the fried apples are fantastic.
I digress.
Really
So, but you've got a special personality, Jen, and I think you know that, but you do. And for me, one of the hardest things that I see in leaders is their ability to transfer what made them effective to the right people. It's like, I remember a long time ago, University of Phoenix, back in those days, there was a guy named Bill Brebaugh and Bob Barker. And those were the people that I really cut my teeth on. And they used to always tell me, you can't be their maker. You can't change who the person is. So you got to pick the right person to match kind of who you are. So it transfers over to them successfully. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. It's really, it's hard to find people with that it factor. That's what I'm saying, where I feel like a lot of, when it comes to hiring, leaders are looking at the resume and looking at experience in this industry. I am telling you, the best people are outside of this industry. Look, take me, for example.
Do you think that's lazy?
No, they don't know any better. That's all it is. They can't see the potential in someone who's waiting tables at Cracker Barrel. Like, there's a lot of potential there. And I think leaders are just like, I want someone who's experienced because I won't have to train them. When what happens is you have to end up retraining them with your own processes and it becomes a bigger fight.
And then it's just like a rubber band. It just keeps bouncing off them. Yeah. But I'll tell you this, and this is the thing I struggle with. And then we'll talk some social, but the people you're talking to, the owners and the leaders and things like that, they're not like that either. A lot of the people that I go out with, everybody's not a friend to them. They don't talk to the bartenders. They don't talk to the servers. They don't necessarily talk to them in the eyes that I think you're looking for. And that, I mean, that could be a training all itself, is for some people to understand that everywhere they go, there's potential hires for them. They're just looking for the right hire so they hit the ground running too quick. I don't know if that, you know what I mean though?
You are absolutely right. I'll tell you, my husband, who I just greatly respect as a leader, and he ran restaurants for over 20 years, when he would interview people.
Was he a Cracker Barrel manager?
He's actually a barbecue pit master. He's like, makes the best brisket on earth. And so he ran barbecue restaurants. And then, remind me at some point to show you the old commercials. Him and I were on.
I love it. Yes. Game shows and commercials. I'm down. If you can send us some stuff, Mark, we'll edit that in.
Honey, we can't just crash this lunch party. No one will ever believe this.
Stop worrying, honey. Trust me. I know what I'm doing.
What a great idea to have Dreamline cater this lunch. Doctor.
Yes, nurse. Us doctors, we know how to eat. So, doctor, what is your specialty? I specialize in ribs and deliveries.
We're going to put some of that stuff into this, so send it over to us.
So what he always did anytime he interviewed someone was, he called it the pencil test. He'd always just throw a pencil on the ground during the interview. And he's like, if they don't even bend over to pick it up, I don't care how great they are, I'm not hiring them, because they don't have a servant's attitude. And people who work here need to serve people and need to be, he's like, you're on an interview with a general manager and you won't bend over to pick up my pencil that I dropped. I don't want you working here. And it's just little things like that I think leaders need to be looking for. You need to be looking for little qualities like that, instead of how many years did they, do admissions and can they do paperwork, and just like, you can teach that. You can teach that. You can't teach the other stuff.
And another thing that I think we forget, as you're in this industry for a while, really good admissions reps are crap at paperwork. The follow-up, those type of things. Like, I think we forget what their main purpose is, and that's to interview people or find people to interview. But then we bog them down with all this stuff that they aren't good at. That's not their forte, right? They want to be meeting and talking to people, not filling out and making sure the application gets routed correctly.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
I think we get rid of that. So
I know exactly what you mean.
Well, good. Let's talk social a little bit. Is social for everybody?
Is social for everybody? Not
social
all
media.
Social media is for everybody. Not all platforms are made for everyone. And so, yes, social media has a place in everyone's life. For your grandparents, it's Facebook. It's the next door app, right? Like, there's going to be something for everyone. Yeah,
especially this time of year. Grandma's posting family pictures.
Right. And they're, do you have the Nextdoor app, by the way? It's the most entertaining app out there. The things people will say on Nextdoor is unbelievable. My package was just dropped off right for Christmas. Did anyone get it? And I'm like, you're literally posting this to like the thousands of people. The
1,000 people, it's at your front door.
Just like go next door and ask. Like, it's unbelievable. I love the Nextdoor app. But social media is for everyone. Just not everyone's good at everything. So if you're a really great, compelling writer, I think something like LinkedIn is great for you. If you know how to capture people and storytell, if you're really good on video, TikTok is perfect for you. You are great at taking photos. Instagram is amazing for you. If you want to politically rant about the upcoming election, go to Facebook. There is a platform for everyone.
So for our audience, we have admissions reps, DOAs, a lot of external people in education or maybe in other verticals. And you mentioned LinkedIn. Like, LinkedIn's my jam. I mean, that's my peer group, I feel. It's just kind of where I feel like my audience is, like you were saying.
You ever feel like we're like in a LinkedIn cult sometimes? Like, there's like a few of us that are the regular posters.
You know what I hate? There's two things I hate, though, and I'm going to say it on here. One is, and if you do this, I apologize, but people that like their own post.
Never.
I find that I'm like, wait a minute, is that not so narcissistic that you're saying my post is awesome? I'm going to like that.
It's so embarrassing too, because everyone can see that you like it. Like, everyone can see that you like it.
It's like the first one. It's the first one that's on there.
I would literally never.
And then the other one is, and this is an interesting one for me, because as you get older, you don't care about likes, but you want to make sure it's getting to your audience. So you do want to see who's liking it, or if there's a comment or something like that. And what strikes me funny is, I'll like someone's post and then they'll start liking mine. But if I don't initiate that like, it's like, I'm not going to like theirs until they like mine. It's like a war of like getting together. So every
Who's
once
gonna like it first? Yes. Let me tell you the thing about LinkedIn that is actually really reminds me of TikTok. I feel like it's the new direction of LinkedIn. It's reach over engagement. And
Yes.
so, for example, you might see on your LinkedIn analytics, I had 4,400 people look at my post, and you're like, but only 12 people liked it. And by the way, this is the story of my life, Charlie. Do you know how many times I go to a convention and they're like, oh, you're the girl on LinkedIn. Oh, I love that post you did. I love that post you did. You did that post about getting out of debt. It was so amazing. Oh, I loved how I'm like, you didn't like it.
Yes. And then you're offended by it. Well, don't forget
Right.
like it then.
Right. Then why didn't you like it? But here's the thing that I'm noticing, which is very much like TikTok. It's more so about the eyes on your stuff. So perfect example. I had a sales call for a beauty schools directory last week with someone, and he just took over the position as the marketing director of their chain beauty school. And he's like, we're cutting all vendors, but we're keeping you. And he's like, Jen, I'm only keeping you because of LinkedIn. He's like, you are smart and I want to do business with people just like you. And I thought, I don't really remember you liking a lot of my posts, but I love this, that, LinkedIn, it's all about getting your content out there and the eyes on it. Don't get caught up, Charlie, in who's liking it and who's commenting on it. They're seeing it, and that's all that matters.
So you want to look at impressions and things like that to see.
Impression share is what matters. And it's the same thing with TikTok. You asked, your audience here, where should they be?
Yeah.
They should be on TikTok. And TikTok is so amazing because your content is created literally for strangers. You don't have to have anyone following. You can have, everyone starts at 0 followers. So, you post something on Instagram, only your Instagram friends are going to see that content, unless it's a Reels and unless you're public. Same with Facebook. If you do your political Facebook rant, only your friends are going to see that. TikTok is the opposite. So you can post something with 0 followers.
And that's the power of it, right?
Overnight, Charlie, overnight go viral.
So let's say, like, if I'm a rep or a salesperson, or how can I engage? Like, because one thing companies care about is brand reputation, right? And we were talking, we did a show with MDT yesterday, and I think we're all in the same boat that we believe the culture of the company is its people. So we need to show the culture of the people, which resonates who you are, so to speak. And I know a lot of reps and leaders or directors of admissions or sales managers, they want to get involved with social, but they just don't know how to make it relevant for their business. What are some suggestions that you have where they can build their own brand, but at the same time not tarnish or worry about the overall brand of the company they work for or system that they represent, things like that?
It's a good question because everyone's doing it wrong on TikTok. I follow a lot of schools and I search a lot of school content on there so I can see what schools are doing. And the cringiest posts and admissions are like, hey, I'm Jenn at ABC Beauty School. Come walk around with me. I'm going to show you the school. And you're just like walking through the halls.
Do you know
like,
you did the voice, that's the
social voice.
Have you seen the little video of the guy ordering coffee and he's like, that's not your voice. You just do that because you're cool.
It's like that. Yeah, exactly. It's exactly what
Good job.
It's the influencer voice is what they say. And so, you're walking through the school and you're just like, hey, let's meet one of our teachers. She's super fun. Tell us what you love to teach. And it's like, would you watch that?
Yeah.
Like if you're just scrolling on TikTok, which by the way is entertainment, why would you ever stop and watch that post? You wouldn't. But what would I stop on? I would stop on, let's just take a beauty school, for example. You're going around, you're asking everyone, how often do you wash your hair?
Yeah.
3 days. But I would watch that. I want to know that.
Actually, I want to know that.
Everyday relatable thing, right? If you're a car mechanic school and you're going around, how often do you honestly change your oil? Is it every 3,000 miles? You're just going around. Oh my God, I'll go 7,000 miles. Like whatever it is. Ask questions that people just want to know the answer to. That's a great way to show your staff. I saw a nursing school had done this. They had like a nurse or a doctor or someone in there, and they were like, we should call him by his first name. And so they had like everyone instead of calling him doctor, whatever, everyone was coming in. They're like, hey, Joe, how's it going, Joe? And it was just like showing the doctor like super confused why no one was calling him doctor. That type of thing it's entertainment. That is going to resonate. We have to stop creating posts that look like commercials and just be organic, authentic, and in the moment. What are you binging now on Netflix? And just go around and ask everyone what that,
Is that why reality TV kind of took off the way it did? Is because one, it's a guilty pleasure to watch somewhat scripted but realistic type shows. But we all gain some sort of affinity for what they're doing because either we closetly want to do that or we're seeing something that we live too. Like all of us has a friend like that person. So do you know what I mean? Is that
people are interesting? Everyone has a story, and it's, after the holidays, ask everyone what the best Christmas gift they got was. Because now that I'm on TikTok, all I'm seeing is Christmas gift hauls. So everyone is just showing like unboxing of everything they got for Christmas. Why is everyone watching this? Because everyone's just curious. Like, that's kind of interesting to see that these 12-year-old kids are getting $5,000 worth of gifts. Like, it's blowing my mind.
It's ridiculous
that these 11-year-olds have skincare routines and YSL bags. And I'm like, why don't I have this? Why do you have this in your life? It's actually really embarrassing. And so I'm all over. That's what people are watching on TikTok. We need to do that in our schools. We need to find a way to go with the algorithm and go with what's trending and make it relatable to our schools. Stop thinking about your school as a commercial.
A lot of systems, I think you would agree, they try to PMP everything, have a policy for it, or do this or do that, which makes growth stifling or makes it more mechanical. How should a system approach that? Like, for us, we have 100 salespeople roughly, or something like that, maybe 110 or whatever. And then a lot of other systems may be similar or smaller, even bigger. How should a system approach this to give everybody, because I want every individual to have their own kind of brand, because that's what I believe people gravitate to. Like, I do believe like a third of the people you encounter, they'll just like you because you have something in common. And I've always said our job is to figure out how to relate to the other 2/3, which I think social can do that. I do think there's outlets. TikTok's one. I think Instagram is somewhat of a good tool too. But how does a system like we're used to, like a lot of us that grew up in education for 20, this is new. Like, and it's the wild, wild west with compliance. There's a lot of unknowns a little bit there. So what is your suggestion on, I'm going to ask you in two ways. One, from a system leadership standpoint for your people, but also how do your people engage with it who are 9-to-5ers? Don't even know if this is a career yet. How do they navigate that to either boost their career or to engage with what they need to do to enhance the brand that they work for? Is that too much, or you?
No, I got you. Let's talk through this, because I think schools need to start trusting the people who are posting. Okay. You cannot run everything through a compliance department. This is why, by the way, you shouldn't be talking about your school. Like, don't give so much detail where you're like, oh crap, we got to reshoot that. She said that it has 7 modules, but really we have 4 modules.
Not very,
that's why you want to keep it a lot more surface and a lot more entertainment level on social, so that you're not having to run everything through red tape and through compliance. Other than that, you need to give your people a reason to post and encourage them to post, not on a school platform, but on their own personal one.
Exactly.
And you do that again by like creating experiences, having special days set aside for something, and just making sure you are doing regular trainings, inspiring people, sending out a TikTok video to someone like, hey, look how fun this looks. You guys should try this in your classroom. But yeah, I love that you said that you embrace personal brand, because let's talk about that for a second. There's a lot of leaders who are afraid of their employees and their personal brands.
Why do you think that is?
Why do you think it is?
I don't know, actually, because I believe in it so much. You ever have something you believe in so much, I can't even wrap my brain off of around someone that doesn't think that way. I'm like,
I think they're maybe afraid they're going to get poached by another company, or that they're going to get so big that they're going to go off and do their own thing. I don't know what it is, but that is the worst old school mentality a leader can have. Because the fact is, when your employees do have a personal brand, specifically on social, it is so good for you and your company.
But don't you think the reverse of that is true, though, if you really think about it? If poaching is one of the things, allowing an employee or a staff person to maximize their self-interest, which can be personal and professional, why would you leave that environment? You know what I mean? It's like, it's pay, or, pay is used to be a thing. And I don't even think pay is that much anymore as far as someone jumping around like I feel like I did early on. Mm-hmm. I like the luxury of merging, like this show. No one sweats me on this show. But I know some systems who would be nervous about me doing this, and it probably would cause me to leave instead of the opposite. People reaching out to me, just ask me why we do what we do. Because I have some people that have reached out about this show saying, hey, we want to do something similar like that. How do you do it? And it wasn't like, we want you, although maybe no one wants me, but it wasn't about that. It was just about sharing ideas. And tell you what, some of them sell the same programs we have in it, and I don't care about sharing it because they're not me, right? Mm-hmm. That's why I've never cared about that. But on the flip side of it, like Johnny and Mark are here. Like, I want them to be the best they can ever be in their chosen field, not as an Ames Centura Tidewater employee. If you really understand that,
absolutely.
You know what I mean?
And you know what? It doesn't just help that person. It helps the company, and it helps retain talent. So my company is a perfect example of that. I have no desire to work anywhere else. I get job offers. I get job offers all the time. I get them in my inbox in LinkedIn. There's not a conference.
Unannounced ones. I saw your post on that.
Oh, that is very true. Yeah. But there's not a conference I don't go to where someone doesn't take me aside and is like, hey, what would you take for you to work for? Happens all the time. I have no desire because my company embraces me and my personal brand. I wouldn't want to go anywhere else because I know I can fully be myself on TikTok, on LinkedIn, and I can do things for the company. I can do things personally for myself, and they're not threatened. They encourage it. And it helps us. It helps our company grow. It helps my personal brand. You will retain your talent if you can embrace your staff having a personal brand.
And think about this. I think more people want to work with you, which ends up helping the top line and bottom line for your employer.
That's what absolutely.
Right?
That's what I'm saying. It is a win-win. It is great for
and from students. Students watch this show and they're like, "Why do you talk about?" I'm like, "I don't care what a student hears. We do all this stuff for them, so they're successful. I've got a job. They're going to get a job, right?" Yeah. And I have found the more people that understand who you are on a personal level, not as AIM staff member 199926, is way more relevant and more sustainable growth for the company than the old thinking of, well, you're just a puppet of the brand of the business. If that, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But
and same thing with LinkedIn, by the way. It's like businesses want you to post from the company account instead of your own. You're delusional. People don't follow brands. They follow people. Mark Zuckerberg has a bigger following than someone like Facebook. Everyone knows the faces of the company more than the company itself. And if more leaders, especially in higher ed, can get that, you will retain talent and it will be so great for your brand.
So my wife said this to me when we moved one time, and she was looking for someone to do her hair. So I'm trying to stick with the whole beauty thing angle. So work with me here. And, you know how there'll be ads out there, get your haircut here or whatever. There's ads. There's ads like this, like the old school way of thinking. Sure. And my wife will just go up to people that have hair that she likes and say, where did you get it? And I consider that the same as social with independent brand agents on their own personal pages. That's what people want to hear. They don't want to hear an AIM commercial of how great we are, because of course we're going to do that. We're not going to do a commercial that says we're bad. But when you have these brand ambassadors personally doing it, they will listen to that. Like my son growing up, he won't listen to me. But if he has a coach or someone else in that kind of position that out of personal brand respect he'll listen to them. And I think it's the same thing here that a lot of people need to understand, that it's not AIM. It's the people of AIM that's your brand.
Yes, exactly. Social media is word of mouth marketing. So everything is going toward this influencer type of marketing on social, but it's not what we consider to be like the old school influencers. So we're so used to thinking influencers are Kim Kardashian. She's not an influencer.
I know she is.
I'm an influencer, just like a regular person who tries something out that seems super relatable, that doesn't have hundreds of thousands of followers. That's like, hey, I put on these jeans and I look 10 pounds skinnier. Look at me. Check them out.
I need this for the show.
Everyone wants to go buy them. And like, that is why TikTok Shop is taking off. Can we chat about TikTok Shop?
Yeah, real quick though. Yeah, I do want to do this. But as far as for the listeners out there, is TikTok the number one right now, you feel?
For Gen Z it is.
And our demo is Jen's. That's what our demo is here. Now, what about gender lines? Is there any gender lines on TikTok, or do you find
it's 50-50? It's right down it's right down the center. And what is so great about Gen Z with TikTok is that they are using it as their search engine. They are no longer Googling what school should I go to. They are now typing in the search bar on TikTok to get answers to things. This is important for schools to know because hashtags are out. That's not a thing anymore.
I stopped doing mine when you said that.
Okay, good. What TikTok is looking for is compelling captions to break the SEO algorithm. So if you really are going to say, these are the 5 steps to enroll at our school, you need to say 5 steps to enrolling at AIM, like, or, how to become.
Just like SEO with a website, just same crawlers and things like that.
What you're doing, you're putting that in your caption now, and you are using the in-app text to go on the screen. That is how you go viral on TikTok. That's what they're looking for. And so Gen Z is now, listen, TikTok in 2020 was all about entertainment. That's what everyone was getting on there to do, these stupid dances.
Trend chasers and things like that.
Yes, that is not TikTok today. TikTok today is becoming a search engine. People are going there for information. I was having some like skin problems like the other day, and instead of going to Google and like WebMDing the fact that I have cancer or something, which I don't, but that's what WebMD does. I just went to TikTok and I just typed in symptoms and I was able to find a whole bunch of stuff. And so I think more people are gravitating toward TikTok, which is so good for schools. So yes, I say do like the fun organic stuff on TikTok, but do some of those informational things. Keep them short, keep them sweet. Don't think they're going to go viral, but people will find them
going. What about Instagram? Because we're heavy on Instagram here. We're getting to TikTok. It's logistically we had to get there internally, but and so it's rising, but we're heavy on Instagram right now.
Instagram is still great. The difference that I say Instagram versus TikTok is TikTok is for strangers, Instagram is for your community.
Got it. So and LinkedIn's for us old people who want to stay relevant with our peer groups.
There you go. Exactly.
And so Facebook's for my grandma.
Go on Instagram to engage your current student population, to share their work, to make you feel like this is your culture, this is your cult, these are your people on that. It's a community build on Instagram. That is not what TikTok is. TikTok is for further reach.
I get it. No, I get it. That's good. That's a very good way to put it in a very bite-sized way for everybody to understand. Mm-hmm. Okay. And I'm not making fun of Facebook. I'm just saying, other than food and
you can make
people
fun of it.
I haven't
been on. I deleted my account 8 years ago.
Yeah, I'm not on Facebook anymore either. I can say that I am on Instagram.
You're so young. You are so ahead of your time. That's wonderful.
Yeah, I don't know what my MySpace is doing these days. Maybe I should check that. But okay, let's go.
Let's see who's on your top 8.
TikTok Shop. Let's make sure we get there before we run out of time.
Yeah, I do want to talk about TikTok Shop just because I think this is fantastic for your staff and for your students because it is really the future. So TikTok Shop recently launched and they're really trying to become the new Amazon. And so back in the day, early, again, 2020, 2021, when TikTok was gaining its popularity, people would do reviews of different products, but what they would do is they would say, go to Amazon and buy it. And so TikTok had a problem, right? It was
people leaving their platform.
People left their app and now Amazon's making all their money. Or, Etsy or different creators are they're like, go click the link in my bio. TikTok decided, forget that. We're going to let sellers set up directly in TikTok Shop, and they can just click straight from our app, buy it straight from our app, and it will get shipped to their house, and they don't even have to leave the app. And so the difference, though, between TikTok and Amazon is TikTok, half of what is sold on TikTok Shop is not through ads. It's not through a company doing an ad and selling it. It's from people like me talking about products I like. And so it really is the future. And I'm making money.
Oh, the
off
hair
of it.
thing. It's like my wife. You got great hair.
All
I'm going
it
to buy
is.
from it.
Yep, that's all it is. And so I dabbled in it because I knew I wanted to teach this, because I thought, oh my goodness, kids don't want to take out loans. A lot of kids today are afraid of student loans and they would rather pay cash, or they do take out a loan and they have a gap in their funding and they're making monthly payments. We have to find a way to teach our kids how to make money.
But they can subsidize it, right? They can subsidize the cash that they need to pay or whatever.
Yeah, so I
through their
thought,
normal everyday products they already use.
Exactly. And so I tested it out, and I was on TikTok, and someone had done an ad, or someone had done a video about a hair serum that they liked that smelled like the Anthropology volcano candle, which is my favorite candle of all time. I bought it on Amazon. I didn't even buy it on TikTok Shop. I bought it on Amazon because I knew it would come the very next day. And they were not kidding. It smells exactly like the volcano candle. And so I just, without even thinking about it, no editing, on a whim, I just pick up my phone. I don't even have a ring light on. I barely had any makeup on. I'm in a sweatshirt, and I just shoot the video for 45 seconds. I was like, I bought this. It's
just
amazing.
Authentic, real talk.
Authentic in the moment. I post it. Well, it quickly gains traction. And by the way, I have linked, because I have enough followers where I can monetize on TikTok Shop. I linked the actual product on TikTok Shop. So every time someone hits that, I get $2.60.
So you get a royalty from that without setting anything up?
Yeah. So I have to set up ahead of time that I would like to be on TikTok Shop as a creator. I add what's called a showcase. So I'm able to add products into my showcase. And then when I make a video, it says, do you want to link something in your showcase? And I'm like, yeah, let me link the serum. So then I link the serum. And now when you watch that serum video, there's a little button straight to the shopping cart where you can purchase it.
So crazy.
So I do this, like, again, on a whim. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't have a ton of I have like 30,000 followers.
Is that why people are successful at social media, though? It's because they not that they don't know what they're doing. I don't mean to like devalue it, but it's that, and I use the word authentic again, but
That's
it's
exactly
that real
what it is.
deal authentic. I don't know what I'm doing. And that resonates with someone because it's not perfectly scripted.
That's the thing. It doesn't look like an ad. I'm just like a normal girl in my house walking. I'm literally walking through.
I bought it. You should buy it. I'm just telling you what I
That's
like.
it. I did it. It's amazing. Everyone should get this. Well, then the company saw it and saw that they were getting orders, and they reached out to me. They sent me $1,000 worth of free products. And then they were like, if you want to make more videos, but we want to run this as an ad. And I was like, great, run it. Now it has like 800,000 views. I've made several $1,000s off of that video that took me 45 seconds to make. And I don't even know what I'm doing, Charlie. Imagine like if I was really good. You know what I mean?
Actually, I suggest stay not knowing what you're doing because it sounds like it's working. But does this replace the old school, like, I don't know, going to have coffee with your friends and talking about what what is this replaced? It's how to replace something in our psyche that we used to do.
Reading online reviews.
So like Yelps and stuff like that. You don't need,
you used to go to Amazon to buy products. And before you buy a product, you look at their star rating, and then
Some of us do. You
should. Then you hit reviews. Well, now I'm just gonna take Jenn's word for it.
And they can see you, and you know what I mean? I think you've got to have a certain look. I mean, there are some things that people have to their advantage that I think are successful at this. But at the end of the day, it's that raw side of me, asking my neighbor, hey, where'd you get that? I'd love to have that. It's just replacing that in what they're used to, which is a social media kind of realm.
You do not have to have a special look. You just have to know how to. I'm just saying, you don't. You just have to have a cell phone.
I want to try to sell that candle and see what happens then.
But that's not authentic to you. And I think that's the point.
Hey,
right?
How do you know that?
You're right. I shouldn't judge. Maybe the candle is authentic to you. But it's about, one of the best ads I saw, which was just a normal guy, making a video. I almost bought it. And I probably still will because I actually saved the video. But he was talking about how, especially in the winter, how like your tires go down.
Yeah,
right? Like,
happens all the time.
Yeah. It's just this one little device that fits in the hand that like you charge up or whatever, but you can go to each one and you just like, set that you want it to be 32 pounds of pressure and like you hit a button and it does it really quick and you just keep it in your car in your glove box. And I'm like, God, that's so smart. So he was talking about how he got it for his wife for Christmas. And his video blew up like way bigger than I think he had like 19 million views.
Well, my wife watched the video the other day and it was a little bit of a TikTok, which bounced her to something else. It did leave I don't know if it left the platform for sure, but it was how to make a steak. And it told you the ingredients to go buy. She didn't buy it online. She just went to the store and bought it, but still that she bought the products of this Yahoo that just said he made a great steak and she wanted to try it.
There you go.
Okay, we're going to part two this. We're running a little bit out of time.
Sure.
Do you mind coming back on? And what I'd like to do is continue this TikTok shop. Mm-hmm. But I'd also like to have a couple other people here to ask you some questions and just kind of chat about it. Because I one of the prides of this show is helping people understand the value of these things that we're talking about. And I strongly believe that we don't do as well as a system to arm our staff or our employees and maybe even people listening with the right components to build their own personal brand, which we've already talked about. This inevitably helps us. So I'd like to stick to that to the next show and talk a little bit more about this because I think it's that important for us all to hear.
I would love that. The last thing I'm going to say, Charlie, is I don't know what app is coming down the pipeline next, but I'll tell you what, I'm going to learn it and I'm going to be the best at it.
Yeah.
And I can tell you that has served me well. When Instagram came out, I was one of the first people to sign up. When Snapchat came out, I'm there. We talked about MySpace. I had my top 8. I changed it every day to make my friends feel comfortable about themselves. Like I'm going to be on every app there is. And I can only encourage you to do the same. Go where the people are. You don't even have to post. Just be a consumer.
Just be a consumer and student of the game.
That's it.
Is Twitter kind of gone? We're not. We do a little bit, but not much. Twitter is just kind of lost its kind of kung pao. I feel
it seems to be a place where people go for news. And
they told me Courtney Cox died the other day, and she didn't, so I didn't appreciate that.
So not accurate news, but news in general. No, it's not where I go because I'm not entertained by that. I told you I don't like news; it's depressing. So it's not where I go.
All right, good. This is very good. Anything left? I need Paulette. Paulette does this part for me, and she does it so well. Anything else you want to leave us with until we part 2 this? And we're going to do this in January.
I'm excited to do. Let's part 2 it. Let's roundtable it. Let's get some other people talking about it because I really think, what I would like to help schools understand is cool. We know we need to be on TikTok. What does that mean? How do we do it? So let's chat about that.
Let's do it. I think I may get some other school leaders involved too. And we can use this product that we have. We're going to do that. That'll probably be our first show. Well, it may be our first show of the year. I might plan on that being our first show. So plan on that, guys that are listening. And thank you so much, Jen. I love seeing you. I haven't seen you lately, but we do have a new year of new conferences. So I'm sure we'll have some fun.
I'll see you around the circuit.
There's got to be a casino nearby. I know that.
There's got to be a casino nearby, and maybe we should do a class again together.
We will do that. That's a definite. Things are gonna be good next year. Things are gonna be good.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much, Jen. Well, guys, please take a listen to this and absorb it, but don't absorb it too much because we are going to have a part 2, and it is going to be our first show of season 3. And there'll be other people on here. Send me a note if you want to get some certain topic you'd like Jen to talk about. But other than that, that's season 2 is over. Jen, you're our last show of season 2.
Yay. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. Thanks, guys. Here's to a great 2023 and even better 2024. See you guys real soon. Thanks, guys.